Jennifer, you bring us this story tonight of Pandia Health and Dr. Sophia Yen, MD.
Yeah, so Sophia Yen is the co-founder and CEO of Pandia Health, and she's also co-founder of a nonprofit organization called She Heroes. But Pandia Health just came into the state of Washington, and you can actually access birth control via mail. She sends, candy with it, some advice. You can actually do telemedicine as well if you don't have a doctor or insurance for a small fee. It's a really wonderful way for women to have more access to birth control and the ability to control their reproductive health and their body. And so I know we have an excerpt of the interview that I did with her, and why don't we go ahead and play that?
Hello, Malcontents. This is Jennifer, and I'm here today with Dr. Sophia Yen, who is the co-founder and CEO of Pandia Health. Thank you for being with us today, Dr. Yen. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
So can you tell us a little more about the services Pandia Health offers?
Pandia Health is the end-to-end solution for birth control, from an online doctor's visit to birth control delivered to your door. And as the only women-founded, women-led, doctor-led company in this space, we're now launched in Washington, and you can use our expert doctors for just $20 once a year, and you have access for the entire year for any follow-up questions, as much follow-ups as you want. And if you're new to our system, we'll follow up in 8 weeks with a questionnaire. No insurance, no problem. We have cash options. Most birth control pills are generic, 95% of them. And so it's $15 per pack of pills, less than 50 cents a day for your birth control if you don't have insurance. But thank you, Affordable Care Act. If you do have insurance, no copay, no deductible.
So speaking about the Affordable Care Act, they've recently, with the new COVID bill, raised the cap for the ACA. And so we've seen in the last few years, especially, diminishing efforts to diminish women's rights. How do you think that, your services and the ACA cap and opening up like options for telemedicine to people that might otherwise have it actually enhance or strengthen women's reproductive rights?
So the whole point of creating this company was to make women's lives better. Medicine is based on a Caucasian female model, or actually it's usually a 70-kilo white male, but I don't know what they use for birth control, but it wasn't a person of color. And so we are looking and asking our customers to self-report their ethnicity so we can correlate it with side effects, see which birth control works best so that the next woman that has this ethnicity, this profile, this history, we can offer her the best birth control so she doesn't have to try 3 different pills until she finds the one she wants. Know that there's 40 different birth control pills. If you didn't like this one pill, there's 39 different other ones. More importantly, there's 8 progesterones. So if you don't like one, note what progesterone it is, note what dose it is, because sometimes there's a high dose and a low dose, and the low dose works fine. It's just a high dose that gives you side effects. Tell that to your doctor. Take a picture of it or write it down. And then number 3, if your body mass index is 26 or greater, so everybody with a uterus, punch it in the computer right now, body mass index. If it's 26 or greater, Plan B and its generics do not work.
That's a really good point, because I actually didn't know that Plan B was ineffective beyond a certain BMI until like last year.
We bring birth control to wherever you have internet and a mailbox. And I like to say, nor rain, nor sleet, nor snow is going to block our birth control. You can imagine in rural parts of the country where the nearest doctor is 2 or 3 hours away. Or I have one friend, her son and his fiance live on top of a mountain, and they have to drive 1 or 2 hours to get down to the local pharmacy. That this is a problem with access. And so we can get her medication if and when she needs it. The other part is confidentiality. So you can imagine if we walk into a pharmacy, one, the pharmacist could choose to slut shame you. Hey, Sophia, here again for birth control. And then Chatty Nancy goes and tells the entire neighborhood. We can deliver to all 50 states. We currently can prescribe in 10 states. And so we're promoting kind of birth control tourism. If you happen to be in Seattle at the airport, you can fill out the questionnaire, and then we can deliver it to Kansas or Arkansas or whatever state, just as long as you're physically in one of the 10 states we serve. When you fill out the questionnaire, legally, we can take care of you. But once you leave that state, we can't write the prescription, but we can absolutely deliver it.
You are a completely women-led women founded. How many women doctors do you actually have working in Pandia Health now?
Yeah, so as we go state to state and as we expand, it's changing every day. Last count, I believe we have 10 physicians. One is a male, but he is passionate, OB-GYN, reproductive health, academic. We list the first and the last name of all our physicians. We give you their bio and we tell you why they're passionate about making women's lives better. We also have Pandia Health /social good. So if unfortunately COVID has taken away your insurance and you can't afford it and you can't afford 50 cents a day to cover your birth control or $20 once a year for the doctor's visit, you can apply to our birth control fund. And if you have money, you can donate to the birth control fund and take a tax deduction. So pay it forward or pay it back, whatever. If you want to help women who can't afford birth control get birth control, please donate to the Pandia Health Birth Control Fund. It's a C3, so it's tax deductible.
I'm so glad that you guys are expanding into Washington. You know, we've seen the recent closure of some Planned Parenthoods, and Planned Parenthoods have been so important in distributing birth control pills. I also see that you are the co-founder of a nonprofit organization called She Heroes. Can you talk a little bit about that for us?
Today, when we Google woman whatever, there should be an excited woman talking about being a doctor, being a CEO, being an entrepreneur, being whatever. And so She Heroes is free online videos targeting 3rd to 8th graders. When you picture a CEO, do you picture woman, man, or both? We even led with woman. Then we said judge. Then we said Supreme Court. Then we said engineer. Then we said all sorts of different jobs. And even in liberal Silicon Valley, came out totally sexist. Then we showed one video of the African-American surgeon power woman. And then we resurveyed. And all of the attitudes switched more egalitarian. And what's more important is girls are getting the she hero, she hero, she hero, but boys need to see these videos too, to realize that their CEO may be a woman. Their colleague at least will be a woman. She Heroes benefits boys and girls. And we saw there was a greater move in the boys because the girls had already been a little bit empowered, but the boys needed to see it to realize that it could happen.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Again, we really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to speak with us and tell us about Pandia Health.
Thank you so much for having me, and check us out on social media. We have YouTube educational videos. We have a blog. We have frequently asked questions. We're on Instagram. Any question you have about the birth control pill, patch, ring, check us out.
Yeah, so she brought up some really great points that I think a lot of people might not be aware of, women especially, and that is the BMI limitation on Plan B. So if we're talking about a 26 BMI, if you're 5'4" and 155 pounds or above, and that's a relatively small person, you're above or 26 BMI or above, and so Plan B might not work for you. So it's interesting how these things are made and marketed without really letting people know that if you're beyond this particular size or BMI, that it's not as effective. She did tell us that there is another option called Ella, that if you are beyond the 26 BMI is an option for you and is far more effective than the Plan B. So she did have some, I hope more people watch the full interview when we get it posted on the website, because she had some really important information in that respect.
Yeah, it was a very timely interview too, Jennifer, because Planned Parenthood announced that they were closing 3 facilities in Western Washington, First Hill in Seattle, one in Kent, and one in Shelton. And the reason they were having to do these closures is Medicaid and Medicare reimbursements had been slashed so far down that these 3 facilities can't basically afford to operate anymore. And this is a great alternative for people. One of the things, certainly I've never taken birth control, but one of the things that did resonate to me as somebody that takes prescriptions and has gone through this frustration of modern medicine of, hey, I'm going on vacation and I need to refill this because I'm not going to be here in the winter. No, you can't, because your insurance won't cover it. You've got to do it. You know, but that is inconvenient and it doesn't work for me. And Dr. Yen talked about that this was one of the #1 reasons that women miss doses on birth control.
Yeah, and Washington, luckily, is one of the states that allows for a year of birth control to be prescribed at a time, which is great. But we're still talking about accessibility. And if you don't have insurance, if you don't have Medicaid, here is an option where you can have a telemedicine visit for $20 and get the subscription for the birth control that you need. She said the only thing that they really require, aside from like the questionnaire that you fill out, is that you have a recent blood pressure reading. And you can do that at a grocery store, a pharmacy. She said she really likes going to the fire department. They'll take your blood pressure for you. You just have to kind of sit and rest for 5 minutes. So they're trying to make it as easy as possible for women to have access to birth control and bodily autonomy.
It's a shame that we have to have this conversation in 21st century America, but women's reproductive rights continues to be a hot button topic. And we are fortunate to live in a state like Washington State, where it's not the hot button topic that it is in other parts of the country. Jennifer, thank you so much for bringing us that story. I think we're getting ready to move on to story number 3 after a little pause for the cause.
All right.
Black Coffee is a hub for communities and a hub for meeting people, making friends, and understanding.
What Black Coffee is to me is a place to actually call home, a place where Black youth will feel welcomed, where Black families will come and feel like they're at home.
What we're trying to build is more than just coffee. Community is something that we do naturally. We know who's in the community, we know what the deficits are, and we're trying to fix that. We want to bring people together.
My hope is that the phrase grounded in excellence shows up everywhere and that it becomes a movement.
I'm looking forward to hanging out at Black Coffee with my friends and feeling safe.
Black coffee to me means opportunity for people like me and my other friends and family to come here and do homework safely and hang out and stuff like that.
That is happening. It is happening.
Black Coffee is located in Shoreline, Washington on Highway 99 between 170th and 180th. I always say check their website or Facebook page. Their hours wiggle a little bit from week to week sometimes. They have amazing coffee. They have amazing merch. And Jennifer, the show wouldn't be complete without a shameless plug for potato scones.
I know I was going to yell, get the potato scone, but I figured, that's your thing and I didn't want to step